Since kindergarten, Jiangsu and I have never been apart for more than 3 days, but ever since our two families discussed our engagement, he avoided me for a whole year. He blocked all my contact information. The security guards at his company said that idlers and I, Su Xianran, were not allowed to enter. Whenever I appeared within his line of sight, he would immediately turn around and leave. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Later, even his friends couldn't stand it and secretly tipped me to find Jiangsu. When I arrived, Jiangsu's cold voice came through the crack of the private room door, a little thing that comes running at the beck and call. She has neither ability nor personality. I feel it's beneath me to get engaged to her. I held the doorknob but didn't push the door further. Zhao Xian, who was standing behind me, quickly covered my ears. Sister, don't listen to Brother Zhang's nonsense. He's drunk and not thinking straight. I'll go scold him for you. With that, he was about to push the door open. I grabbed Zhao Xian's sleeve and shook my head. All along, I just wanted to ask Jiangsu why he was so resistant to getting engaged to me, to the extent that it became known to everyone in the upper class circle. I had called him brother for nearly 17 years. But he wasn't my real brother. Eventually, we all have to get married. Why couldn't it be me? And now, I finally knew the answer. It wasn't that I wasn't good looking or outstanding enough. It was that he had always regarded me as a little pet raised since childhood, for amusement, to kill time, or maybe just to have something nice to look at by his side. Zhao Xian wiped my tears with a handkerchief while muttering, Qin Yuanliang and the others are just blabbering. None of them are reliable. It's okay. Brother Zhao. I took a deep breath. Can you take me back? I don't want to look for him anymore. Okay, sigh. Just as we were about to turn around and leave, the door of the private room opened from the inside. We were stunned and stared at Qin Yuanliang, who had opened the door. Qin Yuanliang didn't know the situation and pulled my arm to enter. This drinking party was originally an opportunity for everyone to persuade Jiangsu to make up with me. Qin Yuanliang pulled me to sit opposite Jiangsu. Brother Jiang, even if it's to resist your family, you can't treat Xiaoran like this. Xiaoran is a girl we've watched grow up. Talk to her properly. Don't be sharp-tongued and cause misunderstandings. Jiangsu didn't look up since I entered the room, but the back of his hand, which was holding the cup, had bulging veins. Zhao Xian followed and then winked at Qin Yuanliang, shaking his head. Before Zhao Xian could pull me up, Jiangsu finally spoke. Su Xianran, why can't you listen to me? Didn't I say before that we should avoid meeting until my grandpa and parents change their minds? Why are you so headstrong? I lowered my head, not knowing what to say. The atmosphere in the private room froze. The last time Jiangsu was this angry was when a senior who had a good relationship with him confessed to me. Zhao Xian sighed and came over to touch my head. Then he beckoned the brothers in the private room to go out, leaving Jiangsu and me to talk alone. Jiangsu took a sip of wine irritably. Sister, can't you have some self-esteem? I've said I'm not interested in you. I've never seen you as a woman. Instead of pestering me, why don't you improve yourself all day long? You just know how to hang around men. Are you being a masochist? I'll be fully in charge of the company in the future and often go on business trips and attend meetings. I can't always take you with me. I felt like I had fallen into the cold seabed. My whole body was cold, and I didn't have the strength to say a word. So this was how he saw me all these years. So just stay away from me obediently. The old men will probably give up on our engagement soon. I understand. You won't pester Zhao Xian and the others to help you find me anymore. No, images from my childhood to adulthood flashed through my mind like a revolving lantern. I used to regard these memories as my most precious treasures. Now, I felt so ridiculous. I had ignored Jiangsu's increasingly impatient attitude towards me since high school. I had ignored his undisguised disgust for my clothes and appearance. I had ignored his subconscious words after learning that his senior confessed to me. How could anyone like her? I looked up at Jiangsu seriously. Jiangsu, brother, I'm really grateful that you saved me when I was a child. From now on, I'll learn my lesson and never bother you again. After saying that, I got up and left without looking back. When I returned to the villa and turned on the lights, the whole villa was still as empty as ever. My parents were away from home all year round, and my grandpa lived in the mountains to cultivate his mind. According to Jiangsu's mother, since I was born, only a nanny took care of me at home. When I was 3 years old, one day, the nanny went out to buy groceries and didn't close the door. I ran out of the villa and fell in the middle of the road. Jiangsu, who was playing in the yard, heard my crying and took me back to his home. In the next nearly 10+ years, I grew up following Jiangsu. I went to the same primary school, middle school, and even university as him. When I was bullied because of my introverted personality, Jiangsu stood up for me and taught me how to protect myself, counting it. Jiangsu had been in my life for much longer than my so-called parents. I was too dependent on him. So when he first started avoiding me, I was so panicked that I looked for him everywhere, feeling that the whole world was terrifyingly empty. 1 year wasn't a long time, but it was more difficult to endure than the previous 10+ years. I sat in front of the computer, staring blankly at the email notifying me that my exchange student application had been approved. The psychologist said that I should change the environment and cultivate new hobbies to distract myself. I originally wanted to tell Jiangsu. Thinking of this, I laughed at myself. He probably couldn't wait for me to stay far away from him. When I left, I only sent a text message to my parents. Even if they didn't care, I landed in Italy, and after some difficulties, I completed all the procedures and rented a house. It wasn't as difficult as I had imagined. During the period waiting for the school to start, I traveled and did some sketching in several nearby cities, just as the psychologist said. Going out and seeing the world really changed my state of mind, and my habits also changed. After being stolen from 3 times and harassed countless times, I decided to learn martial arts. Since no one would protect me in the future, I had to learn to protect myself. 2 months after the school started in Italy, I suddenly received a call from Xiaoran. Why didn't you tell us you went to Italy? We only found out when we accidentally met your classmate. Yeah, I just came abroad to study and relax. I'll be back in a few months. Don't worry. So how's your daily life now? Is the place you live safe? Everything is fine. It's very safe. That's good. Why don't you tell your brother? He has some friends there. No need. I'm doing well. I don't want to trouble others. Okay. Then if you have anything, contact me. Contact your brother in time. In Zhang's office, Zhao Xian turned off his phone after hearing the call end on the other side. She's got some guts. Jiangsu twirled the lighter, his face. But brother Zhang, it was you who told her not to look for you. Zhao Xian sat idly on the sofa, looking at Su Xianran's exchange student application form. Not looking for me doesn't mean she can't make a call or send a text message. Oh, my dear boss. Look at your blacklist. At that time, you said you had to make it look real, and you blocked her right away. How could she tell you? If I were her, I wouldn't bother with you either. Zhao Xian rolled his eyes. He was Jiangsu's childhood friend and had also watched Su Xianran grow up. He knew more or less about the affairs of the Su family. Su Xianran had been neglected by her parents since childhood and didn't talk much. She only clung to Jiangsu. But Jiangsu didn't have romantic feelings for her. Now that she was far away, Jiangsu was clearly worried, but still stubborn. This situation, let them mess around as they like. After Zhao Xian left, Jiangsu rubbed his temples. There was a feeling of unease in his heart, worse than when he saw so many portraits of himself in Su Xianran's studio. The 2 old men of the families jointly pressured him to get engaged to Su Xianran. Xiaoran was just a junior in college. What could a little kid who had never been in love understand? Jiangsu swiped the phone screen. After hesitating for a while, he took the contact sister out of the blacklist. Then he dialed the internal line and asked Secretary Lin to come in. Mr. Jiang, you called me. Xiaoran went to Italy on her own. The corner of Secretary Lin's mouth rose. The proud look disappeared in an instant. This shows that the suppression-style education I proposed worked. Miss Sue has no one to discipline her since she was a child, and no one corrects her when she does something wrong. She's already a junior in college, but she still only knows how to hang around you all day. What kind of future can she have? For a girl like her who has no self-awareness, if you don't say harsh words to her, she will never have the backbone to be independent. And Miss Sue's going abroad doesn't necessarily mean she's made any progress. Maybe she's imitating the plot in a romance novel, trying to play hard to get. I'm also a woman. I understand these little tricks of hers. In order to correct her over-dependence on men, you must control the distance well. Jiang-Su thought thoughtfully, but she's never been far away from home before. Miss Sue is already a junior in college. What can she not do? When I graduated from high school, I was even younger than her now, and I could go to a strange city to attend university. There aren't so many difficulties. Girls don't need to be pampered like this. Jiang-Su thought about it and found it reasonable. Maybe Xiaoran had seen too few men, so she confused the affection for him with love. It was time for her to go out and experience the world on her own. Jiang-Su asked Secretary Lin to cancel the plane ticket to Italy that he had just booked and then turned to deal with company affairs. Bang, bang, bang. Perfect. I nodded to the coach, put down the M1, and rubbed my wrist. My shooting performance had improved a lot compared to last time. I silently packed my things and emptied my mind. I still had a martial arts class in the afternoon and needed to go back early in the evening. Otherwise, I would run into that annoying neighbor again. Just as I walked to the door, a tall Asian man walked towards me. I lowered my head and tried to avoid him, but the man stopped right in front of me. "Excuse me, are you Miss Su Xianran?" He spoke fluent Mandarin. "Yes, I am, and you are." I looked up curiously. The man in front of me was wearing a tailor-made suit. He was nearly 1.9 meters tall, exuding the oppressive aura of a superior. But the moment I met his eyes, that oppressive feeling disappeared. His eyes were actually dark blue. "My name is Meng Hyu. I'm a friend of Jiang-Su's. Jiang-Su told me that you came here to study on your own, and he's not. He asked me to take care of you. The apartment you're living in isn't very safe. I've arranged a place for you to live. Would you like to move there? Miss Su, you can give Jiang-Su a call." Meng Hyu made a gesture of invitation, and we sat down in the coffee shop next door. He took out his phone and dialed. After some greetings, he handed the phone to me politely. "Xiaoran, yeah, Meng Hyu is from the Meng family. There are some business dealings between the Meng family and the Jiang family. He will arrange your accommodation, and you can ask him about anything in your life." I composed myself when I heard the familiar voice. It was as if I had returned to the time when Jiang-Su hadn't started avoiding me. Perhaps it was the time, the distance, or the 1-year break that had taken effect. I wasn't as sad as I had imagined. "Okay, I know. Thank you." There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, and then he continued to speak. "But don't be so spineless as to rely on him. Learn to be independent and make some progress, understand?" "Got it." After hanging up, I handed the phone back to Meng Hyu with both hands. Then I obediently followed him into the car. Since he was a business partner, Jiang-Su must have promised Meng Hyu some benefits. For my own safety abroad, I wouldn't be stubborn and not follow the arrangements. In the car, Meng Hyu directly called someone to pack my luggage. Then he took me to have a Chinese meal. An hour later, the driver drove the car into a manor. "Miss Su, please." "Thank you, Mr. Meng." When I got out of the car, I saw the butler and several maids waiting. Meng Hyu motioned for me to follow him in. "You don't have to call me Mr. You were 7 years old when I went abroad, and we met several times at the Jiang family." I looked up at the man in confusion. "At that time, you were playing hide and seek with Jiang-Su and bumped into my leg. Then you sat down on the ground and started crying." Meng Hyu recalled that he had a deep impression of Su Xianran at that time, when he went to the Jiang family with his father. As soon as he entered the door, a small white ball bumped into him. For a child of that age, if they were hurt, they would usually cry loudly, but little Su Xianran just touched her nose, sat on the ground blankly, and blinked her eyes, shedding tears. Before he could comfort her, the little cotton ball wiped her tears by herself. she muttered to herself. CRN doesn't hurt. Be good. Then she stood up and ran away. Combined with the information his assistant gave him this morning, probably no one comforted her when she was in pain. Jiansu was just a 9-year-old kid at that time, and the Jian family couple didn't have time to take care of this neighbor's child. Meng Heyu thought at that time that if no one wanted this child, he might as well take her abroad and raise her. He didn't expect that more than 10 years had passed, and now he had fulfilled his childhood thought. Unconsciously, we walked to the second floor. In a room with an open door on the right-hand side of the stairs, a man and 2 or 3 maids were packing my luggage. The man came out and greeted us when he saw us. Mr. Meng, Miss Su. Mr. Meng. I thought we were going to the flat in the south. Why did it change to your manner? Hearing this, I also looked up at Meng Heyu. The tall man touched the tip of his nose. Oh, my cousin is coming to live there recently, so I can only settle Miss Su here for now. Oh, okay. The days that followed were very peaceful. Meng Heyu even set aside a small art studio for me in the study on the 3rd floor. When I didn't have classes, I would paint in the studio. Meng Heyu often sat in the study to deal with work. Sometimes he would sit beside me and watch me paint, jokingly saying that he wanted to collect the works of a future master. After learning that I was learning shooting in martial arts, he volunteered to be my coach. Seeing that my clothes were all in a simple sporty style, he also asked high-end luxury brands to send over a bunch of well-matched clothes. He had a good eye. I never knew that I could dress so beautifully. I thought my life would always be this peaceful, until one day, I noticed a different atmosphere in the manor. The butler knocked on my door. Miss Su, the manor is going to have a major cleaning. You need to stay in a hotel for a few days to a week. The driver and maids will go with you, so it won't affect your living habits. I scratched the doorframe with my fingertips. After hesitating for a moment, I couldn't help but ask, is Brother Meng also staying in the hotel? In this situation, my heart sank. I felt a sense of déjà vu for some reason. Was Meng Heyu also tired of me, even though I had only lived here for 3 months? Sir, he's going on a business trip. He will come back to pick you up in person when he returns. I clenched my hands tightly, suppressing the bitterness in my heart, and replied, okay, when shall we leave? We can leave now. I said I would change my clothes and then close the door. I laughed at myself. It's nothing. It's not the first time. Recalling the 3-month relationship with Meng Heyu, sometimes I had the illusion that I had met someone like me. Some compulsive little actions, combined with his interpretation of my paintings. Forget it. I don't want to think about it. Maybe he was really busy. I carried a school bag and went downstairs. Most of the maids in the manor had left. Only the butler and the driver were waiting at the door. I suddenly had a wild thought. Could it be that Meng Heyu went bankrupt? I couldn't help but find some humor in my bitterness, but then I choked on my own saliva. I made a gesture to the butler and then turned around and ran to the kitchen to get some water. I'm still not very familiar with this manor. It's not too big, but it's not small either. After drinking water, I passed by a half-open room. There was a faint sound of glass breaking coming from that room. Didn't they say everyone had left? Could it be a pet cat or dog that Meng Heyu raised? It couldn't be a person. Curiosity killed the cat. I went back to the kitchen and picked up a knife. Then I pushed open the half-open door. Behind the door was actually a staircase going down. Was this a basement? The lights beside the stairs were on, and there were all kinds of beautiful murals on the wall. I held my phone in one hand and the knife in the other, and slowly walked down. There was another door downstairs, which was very delicate. I thought about stopping there. What if there was danger? Just as I was about to leave, I heard a familiar voice. Although it was just a muffled groan, I recognized it. It was Meng Heyu's voice. I turned around and opened the door. Sitting slumped on the ground was really him. There were fragments of a wine bottle on the ground. Meng Heyu was clutching a piece of glass in his right hand. His left hand was bloody and mangled from punching the wall. I was torn between closing the door and running away and being kind-hearted and going in. In the end, I chose to lean against the door and call him. I was cowardly, but not completely. Menghayu, brother Meng, are you okay? Menghayu's body sitting on the ground suddenly stiffened, his muscles tensing. It was as if he didn't expect anyone to talk to him. He turned his head and looked at me at the door. Xiaoran, how did you find this place? Didn't the butler take you away? Menghayu forced a gentle smile as usual. If you ignored his trembling left hand, I hesitated for a few minutes and regretted calling him a bit. Then I'll leave first. I won't disturb you. Don't forget to deal with the injury on your hand. Just as I was about to close the door, I vaguely heard the man's soft plea. Don't go. I won't hurt you. Don't be afraid. I just had a nightmare and couldn't sleep. I'm a little scared. Xiaoran, can you stay with me for a while? I left the basement and saw the butler still at the door. Miss Su, what do you plan to do? I'll take care of him. Brother Meng should have called you just now. Sigh. Okay, Miss Su, Mr. Meng doesn't have any terrible problems. It's just that it's almost the anniversary of his mother's death. Sir, he has some psychological shadows. Okay, I took the first aid kit and went back to the basement. I helped him to the bed in the basement and bandaged his wound. Don't you want to ask? No. But if you want to talk, I can listen. There's nothing much. Okay, since Menghayu couldn't sleep, I read books with him anyway. I'm used to insomnia. Sometimes we would watch movies on the tablet together, until 3 days later, Menghayu returned to his normal self and pulled me out of the basement. The maids and the butler in the manor acted as if nothing had happened. However, there was some subtle change in the relationship between Menghayu and me. Xiaoran, can you do me a favor? I had just finished my final term work in the art studio on the 3rd floor. When I turned around, I saw Menghayu sitting beside me with a smile on his lips. Sure, Menghayu raised his eyebrows. I haven't said what the favor is yet. With Brother Meng's wealth and status, I can't help you get anything. I have almost no social connections. So it's not about asking me to introduce you to any contacts. Then the only thing useful about me is probably myself. Painting, or do you want me to accompany you to some occasion? I shrugged. Most likely, he wanted me to be his female companion at an event. You're so smart. I want to invite you to the dinner party of my aunt, Lady Guardi. My aunt likes to introduce me to the noble ladies she knows. Every time it's hard for me to get away from her. In previous years, I didn't have any close relationship ladies around me. Now that you're here, it's just right. I readily agreed. Although I didn't have anyone to discipline me since I was a child, I didn't lack money and material things, so I had learned everything I should learn by myself. That morning, Menghayu personally put the dress in my room. It was a high-end custom-made dress by Marchesa. The dress was in a dreamy pink color. The design of the skirt was complicated. Multiple layers of tulle were stacked to form a fluffy skirt. The upper body was decorated with flowers. It was both elegant and very cute. After changing, the stylist did my makeup and hair according to the dress. I held the hem of the skirt and stood on the 2nd floor. Menghayu heard the sound and looked up from the sofa. When he saw me, his dark blue eyes widened, showing his amazement without any concealment. Then he quickly walked upstairs. He stopped on the step 1 level lower than me, performed a gentleman's bow, and then stretched out his hand. Dear Princess, would you like to attend the dinner party with me? I couldn't help laughing. It was really childish. I put my hand in his palm. Just as I was about to go downstairs, I felt that the man in front of me didn't move. I looked up in confusion and asked him with my eyes, Xiaoran, this is the first time you've laughed since you came here. Do you know why I chose this dress for you? I shook my head. Don't wither because of people with bad eyesight. You're already beautiful enough, both in appearance and in soul. The dinner party went very smoothly. Lady Guardi liked me very much, and there were no women pestering Menghayu as he had said. After the opening dance, Menghayu invited me to the dance floor. Brother Meng, it seems your charm isn't enough. You said you'd use me as a shield, but it doesn't seem to be working. Menghayu lowered his head. It's because a certain young lady is too dazzling. I looked up and met his deep eyes. dark blue, quiet, yet hiding a storm. In the past few months, I actually noticed that he was different to me. It wasn't pity, nor politeness, nor the care for a junior. It was tolerance, doting, and appreciation. I don't know if this is a bit cliche, but this is the best way to express my thoughts. Meng Heyu's voice was as deep as a gorgeous and elegant cello. I want to be a gardener, cultivate and water a flower until it blooms, and then spend my whole life admiring and loving this beauty until it withers. I felt the hand around my waist suddenly tighten, and I was pushed into the man's arms. Sorry, I'm a bit out of control, Meng Heyu said. Sorry, but the strength of his arm around me didn't relax at all. Mr. Meng, did you go abroad before you learned Chinese well? This confession is really old-fashioned, I complained. But I understood what he meant. When the dance ended, I broke free from his embrace, but Meng Heyu didn't play by the rules. I had just walked 2 steps when he grabbed my arm and directly picked me up in his arms. Everyone around gasped. He carried me all the way out of Lady Guardy's manor, walked straight to the door, got into the car, and told the driver to leave. We didn't talk all the way. After returning to Meng Heyu's manor, he carried me out again. His actions were gentle but irresistible. He walked through the front hall and stopped in the middle of the garden before putting me down. Su Xianren, you didn't reject me. Meng Heyu finally tore off his gentle disguise. A man who had built a business empire abroad couldn't be just an extremely gentle knight. What do you like about me? I stared into his eyes. Everything. The first time I saw you at the shooting club, I watched you outside for a long time. You looked so fragile that you could be crushed with one hand, but you were so fierce and attractive. You lack love, are inferior, and don't trust anyone, but you can paint pictures with such a clean artistic conception. Everything about you hits my aesthetic point. The nanny who fed you sleeping pills and often beat and scolded you when you were a child became a vegetable because of a fall. The girls around Jiangsu who spoke ill of you received anonymous threats. The neighbor downstairs of the apartment in Italy who always molested you was put in a garbage bag by you and kicked in the crotch. You're clearly a little leopard, but you've disguised yourself as a little white rabbit without any sense of disharmony. I slapped his hand that was touching my face away. TSK, this infatuated look really looks like a pervert. So, I looked at this big bad wolf showing his fangs. You stayed with me in the basement for 3 days. At that time, I thought, how nice it would be if you could always be by my side. Meng Heyu's hand stroked my side face, then slowly moved down and pinched my neck, exerting a little force. It was as if my life was in his hands, dominant and paranoid. Be my other half. I can be your family, your friend, your lover, any relationship you want, and let you have all my love, and I completely belong to you, my wealth, my relatives, my body, my soul, my life. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. I was lured by the words, all my love. I heard my own voice. Okay, then I was pulled into the embrace that seemed to control my whole world. A domineering and eager kiss fell. It was like giving me oxygen. It was also like devouring my whole soul. The next day, I was woken up by the ringtone of a mobile phone. My mobile phone is always on silent after coming to Italy. I didn't tell anyone my phone number except Meng Heyu. This ringtone was annoying me. Just as I was about to get up and throw the phone, a hand stroked my face. It slowly soothed me and made me let go of my bitten lower lip. Meng Heyu's voice rang in my ear. It's okay. It's my phone. Be good. After saying that, he picked up the phone and looked at the screen. He neither hung up nor answered. I lay in Meng Heyu's arms, opened my eyes, and looked up. He raised his eyebrows with interest. It's Jiangsu. Do you want to answer? The man lowered his head and pecked me. Give it to me. I rolled my eyes. Meng Heyu is so childish. Brother Meng, I heard that you took Xiaoran to the dance party yesterday. Thank you so much for taking care of her. Xiaoran isn't used to this kind of occasion. She didn't cause you any trouble, did she? I coughed. I didn't cause Meng Heyu any trouble, and I was very obedient. We ended up in the same bed after being so obedient. I despised myself for being so easily coaxed by the man yesterday, Xiaoran. Yeah, seeing that it was you calling, I asked Meng Heyu to give me the phone. It's a good habit to get up early. Keep it up. Jiansu probably thought we had already gotten up for breakfast. I didn't want to explain either. Okay, brother. We chatted about some meaningless things, and then Jiansu hung up the phone. Jiansu was standing on the golf course with several friends. The second son of the Fong family looked very proud. See, I told you so. Yesterday, my sister went to Lady Guardi's dinner party and recognized Sister Su from your family at a glance. Jiansu looked at the phone call page, his expression gloomy and unclear. Do you have a photo? Sure, my sister showed it to me. Why didn't Sister Su dress so beautifully in China? Is it because you, as her brother, didn't let her? Fong Air was still making jokes carelessly, after a few dry laughs. He finally realized that the atmosphere was wrong. Show me the photo. Jiansu's voice turned completely cold. Oh, okay. Fong Air had just flipped through the chat records when Jiansu snatched the phone. Miss Fong had taken more than a dozen photos. There were pictures of Su and Meng entering the venue arm in arm, of the two dancing in the dance floor, and of Meng Heyu carrying Su Xianran in his arms and leaving. Miss Fong also sent a few messages. Lao Di, look, these two must be dating. Right, my mom said she wanted me to get to know Mr. Meng, but it turns out he's already taken. To be honest, this little sister of the Su family is really good looking. Yan Master Jiang is really a gentleman who can resist temptation. Jiansu's face turned darker and darker. Hey, brother Jiang. Don't squeeze my phone so hard, it'll get deformed later. Fong Air chirped and quickly rescued his phone. Zhao Xian also saw the photos. He sighed and tried to comfort Jiangsu. Little Ran looks really good in an evening dress. She's even willing to attend the banquet. At least she's made some progress. Heh. Jiangsu waved away Zhao Xian's hand on his shoulder, gritting his teeth. Meng Heyu. After being with Meng Heyu, I suddenly felt that the whole world had changed. The day after we confirmed our relationship, Meng Heyu handed me the property transfer documents. All the real estate in his name, including the manor we lived in, was written in my name, and most of his companies in Italy and China were transferred to me. Are you crazy? In the study, Meng Heyu was sitting in the office chair, and I was sitting on his lap, flipping through a large stack of property transfer documents. Not really. What if I didn't agree to be with you? We're not married yet. What if I run away with the money? I widened my eyes and turned to look at the man who was smiling dotingly. Yes, I'm crazy. A big crazy person matches a little crazy person. We're a perfect match. And, baby, you look so cute when you're surprised, like a little cat. Let me think about what else to give you. I quickly covered the man's mouth. Ugh, a man in love is so cheesy. Well, since I chose this man, I have to spoil him. Xiaoran, this will be our home from now on. Meng Heyu buried his head in my neck. I looked at the sunlight pouring into the study, and there was a sweet smell in the air. I took a deep breath, inhaling the smell into my chest. Okay, I had never been this happy before. We have a home, just as we were the happiness of our two-person world. The ringtone of my phone rang. Ever since Meng Heyu found out that I had ringtone phobia last time, he had changed all my ringtones to the songs he hummed. To be honest, Meng Heyu's voice was very soothing to me. I picked up the phone and found it was a WeChat call. The caller was Mother. It's okay, answer it. Meng Heyu kissed my ear from behind. I composed myself and answered the call. Su Xianran, when are you coming back to China? In 5 months. Old Master Jiang is having a birthday party next week. You go back and attend it. Okay. Did you have a falling out with Jiangsu? No. Then why did he call me? Don't bother me with such unimportant things in the future. Okay. I stared blankly at the hung-up phone. Meng Heyu. I don't seem to be sad anymore. And I don't even want to know why she hates me. Meng Heyu turned me to face him. He stroked my hair and then kissed my forehead. Good girl. I touched my forehead. Tears couldn't help streaming down. I plunged into the man's arms and cried my heart out. Cry. It'll be better after crying. You won't have to be wronged anymore, Meng Heyu. And I came back the day before Grandpa Jiang's birthday. I took him to the Su family's villa. After Meng Hayu saw the paintings in my studio, he was jealous all night. I promised to paint more for him before he was appeased. When I walked into the banquet hall arm in arm with Meng Hayu, there were already a lot of people. Before seeing the Jiang family, Meng Hayu was surrounded by a group of people for greetings. I secretly slipped out of the encirclement and found a quiet corner to eat a small cake. Miss Su, I looked up. And the person coming was Secretary Lin in a white strapless dress. She was one of the women I hated the most. Secretary Lin seemed not to notice me rolling my eyes at her and sat down beside me. Miss Su is actually back. I thought you really had the backbone to stop pestering Miss Su. A girl should have some self-esteem. Don't be like a piece of chewing gum sticking to the Jiang family. You don't even know how much Mrs. Jiang hates you. A wild girl with no one to raise her. The proposal of engagement was just to give old Master Su face. You're just a plaything. I'm the woman who is qualified to stand by President Jiang's side. With that seductive look, you must be dreaming of being President Jiang's little wife, right? I looked at the small cake in my hand. I didn't have an appetite to eat anymore. Secretary Lin knew that I had serious mental problems. She had provoked me with her insincere words before. I used to be extremely insecure because of Jiang Su's estrangement. So her provocations were always successful. This time, her true colors finally showed. I felt disgusted and wanted to hit her, but I couldn't ruin Grandpa Jiang's birthday party. I got up and planned to stay away from her. I might as well just ignore her like the barking of a dog, but she suddenly grabbed my wrist and pushed me. Ouch! The red wine in her hand spilled onto her dress. Miss Su, I have no improper thoughts about President Jiang. You don't have to be hostile to every woman around President Jiang. Secretary Lin raised her voice, attracting the attention of most people in the hall. I felt something and looked back. Sure enough, Jiang Su was helping Grandpa Jiang out of the room, followed by Mrs. Jiang. Su Xianran, what are you up to again? Jiang Su frowned, glanced at Secretary Lin's dress, and questioned me. Mrs. Jiang also said disapprovingly, Xiaoran, today is your Grandpa Jiang's birthday. You're not even Jiang Su's fiancé yet. You can't act so recklessly. What did I teach you before? Jealousy regardless of the occasion is so petty. Grandpa Jiang also frowned and knocked his cane heavily a few times. Girl Su, you go back and reflect on your behavior. I have to discipline you on behalf of your grandpa. What's going on here? Are they acting out a drama for me? The plot is so cliched that even some mindless short dramas wouldn't bother to film it. I was shocked by the words of these people. Xiaoran, Meng Hayu ran over from the other side of the hall the first time. The man frowned, his face frighteningly dark. I quickly took his hand and shook it. It's okay, I can handle it myself. Secretary Lin walked to Jiang Su's back looking aggrieved. Mrs. Jiang took her hand and patted it to comfort her. People really laugh when they're speechless. I ignored their accusations against me. Calmly, I took out the voice recorder from my handbag, turned it on, and turned up the volume to the maximum. You don't even know how much Mrs. Jiang hates you, a wild girl with no one to raise her. I'm the woman who is qualified to stand by President Jiang's side. With that seductive look, don't pretend to be innocent here. Believe it or not, this glass of wine can get you out of here in an instant. The banquet hall was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. The expressions of the people watching the show around changed from curiosity to contempt. The faces of the Jiang family members were as colorful as a palette, and Secretary Lin's face turned deathly pale, and she slowly let go of Mrs. Jiang's arm. Pfft, I don't know which lady laughed. The people around started whispering. Who said the Jiang family dotes on the daughter of the Su family? They must have bullied this child many times with such harsh words. Didn't they say it was the Jiang family who first proposed the engagement? Maybe they think Miss Su's family background is good and she's easy to manipulate. Indeed, the Su family is at least a family of scholars. They're bullying her so blatantly, probably relying on the fact that her parents are away doing archaeological research all year round. But this little girl is really good looking and smart. Don't say that. I kind of want to take her as my daughter-in-law. I put on a fake professional smile and turned off the voice recorder. Joke, I've been bullied since I was a child. so my sense of prevention is at its maximum. A voice recorder is a daily essential. Oh, by the way, to record Grandpa Jung's birthday, I also brought a mini camera. I took off the brooch pin to my dress. Do you want to watch the video? I tilted my head and blinked. Cough, it's all a misunderstanding. Jiangsu, what's going on with this secretary you brought? Is she here to ruin my birthday party? Old Master Jiang waved his cane and hit Jiangsu's leg. Mrs. Jiang came over and took my hand. Oh, it's my fault. I was too hasty. I was afraid Xiaoran had picked up some bad habits outside. Auntie here has long regarded you as her own daughter. I was afraid you'd make mistakes. It's because I care too much. I nodded perfunctorily and subtly pulled my hand out. Right, Auntie. What were you talking about? Engagement, Jiangsu and I have a pure brother-sister relationship. Neither of us has agreed to it. Don't play matchmaker randomly. I blinked cutely and then looked at Jiangsu with a gloomy face. Right, brother Jiangsu, your scheming secretary is really scary. If I hadn't brought a voice recorder, I would have been wronged to death by you all. She's so petty to frame me even before the engagement. I stomped my feet deliberately, then I turned to look at Mrs. Jiang with a smile. Don't you think so? After my series of sarcastic remarks, the people in front of me didn't dare to say a word. Did they think I was easy to bully? Even an honest person has a breaking point. I snorted softly, turned around, and took the hand of the man who was looking at me with doting eyes. Honey, did I do something wrong? Why do Aunt Jiang and Grandpa Jiang dislike me so much? I originally wanted to introduce my dear boyfriend to them. Meng Heyu pulled me into his arms and kissed the top of my head. Then let's stay away from these people, okay? Meng Heyu looked up, put away his smile, and looked at old Master Jiang. Since we're not welcome here, Xiaoran and I won't disturb you. Old Master Jiang, on your birthday, goodbye. Without waiting for the Jiang family to answer, he put his arm around me and walked out. Xiaoran, wait a minute, Jiangsu finally spoke up, trying to stop me. But Meng Heyu and I looked at each other and smiled. Neither of us stopped. Back at the Su family, as soon as we entered the door, Meng Heyu pressed me against the door. Like a hungry wolf, he kissed my lips, aggressively invading. My mind went blank, and I tilted my head back, enduring the man's passionate love. I don't know how long it took before the man reluctantly backed away a little, but still pecked at my lips one by one. Su Xiaoran, do you know how beautiful you are? The way the little white rabbit bites is so charming. Did you cast a spell on me? I blushed and pushed the man away. I don't know if it's because he's of Chinese-Italian mixed blood. When he's serious, he looks like a classic domineering president. When he's head over heels in love, he's terrifyingly passionate. But I like it very much. What I've always longed for is this kind of blatant love. I put my arms around Meng Heyu's waist and buried my head in his arms. Maybe it's because I have you behind me that I dare to be so bold. I'm a dark and vengeful woman. Now that I have a backer, I'll bite whoever provokes me. The man laughed, his chest vibrating, and hugged me even tighter. Okay, if you can't bite, I'll bite for you. The next day, I woke up at noon. After drowsily washing up, I went downstairs and saw Meng Heyu cooking in the kitchen with an apron on. I watched the man skillfully cooking and cutting vegetables, and then hugged his waist from behind. Did you sleep well? Yeah, okay, we'll have a meal right away. Just as I was about to peek at what dishes he was cooking, the doorbell rang. I ran from the kitchen to the door to open it. To my surprise, it was Jiangsu. I gently closed the door and turned around to face him. About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry. Jiangsu's voice was hoarse. Looking closely, there were dark circles under his eyes. Oh, I wasn't going to say it was okay. Here, I'd like to quote a famous saying, if an apology could solve everything, what would the police be for? Is there anything else? I wanted to go back and have my brunch. Did you do that with Meng Heyu yesterday to make me angry? The conflicts between us should not involve outsiders. Besides, Brother Meng is very busy every day. Don't always trouble him. It wasn't to make you angry. Menghayu is my boyfriend, not an outsider. He's my lover. I looked into his eyes and explained seriously. Jamsu was stunned. Then his eyes widened in disbelief. His voice also grew louder. You and Menghayu, do you know what you're doing? He's 3 years older than me. I shrugged. Yeah, that means he's 6 years older than me. It's not like he's 10 or 20 years older. Isn't this age gap quite normal? And he doesn't treat me like a child. Jamsu still had that unacceptable expression. Then he frowned and grabbed my arm. No way. I tried to struggle, but couldn't break free. Why? Do you know? Don't try to sow discord. Let me go. Do you know his whole family is messed up? I stopped moving and was slightly stunned. What? Do you know Menghayu's mother was forced to death by his father? His father was an obsessive, compulsive control freak. He imprisoned his mother in the Meng family for 10 years. Later, his mother got severe depression. One second she was greeting Menghayu downstairs, and the next second she jumped off the building and died right in front of him. Menghayu witnessed his mother's death with his own eyes. His father was a control freak, and he is too. Do you know how ruthless his methods are? In Italy, the people who betrayed him ended up in a terrifying situation. How could you? Jiangsu's eyes were red. And he shook my shoulders with both hands. I know. I lowered my head and smiled. I know, brother. I felt it the first time I saw him. What? Jamsu seemed not to understand what I was saying. At first, he would make decisions for me. What to eat for 3 meals, what to wear when going out, how to allocate time for schoolwork and hobbies. Everything was arranged perfectly. Later, I had to report truthfully about who I met and what time I came home at night, but isn't this exactly what I want? A control freak and a dependent personality, like a lid for a pot. He won't dislike me for being too clingy to him, nor will he think I'm too withdrawn to have friends. When I'm indecisive, he can make choices for me. I took Jiangsu's hands off my shoulders. Brother, Menghayu is like my destined other half. Before, I always dreamed of someone making me the center of their world, taking care of me, loving me, and giving me enough sense of security. Life is only a few decades since I've met someone who is naturally compatible with me. Why should I suffer to change? Moreover, I could feel that we were both getting better. He would change. Su Xianren must get up at 7 to Su Xianren must get enough sleep before getting up. He would encourage me to do everything I wanted to do, even if I was about to fall. He would immediately pull me up from behind, and my dependence on him gave him a sense of belonging in this world. He was no longer that profit-seeking and cold-blooded businessman. He was no longer that crazy person who would hurt himself when things didn't go as he wished and hide in the basement and not come out. We were each other's home. Thinking of this, I really wanted to go back to the room and give Menghayu a hug right now. Brother, I used to be too clingy to you and caused you a lot of trouble when you misunderstood me. I was also angry and sad, but still, I'm grateful for your care for me since I was a child. After watching Jiangsu leave, I immediately opened the door. Menghayu was standing less than 10 steps away from the door, looking down at his phone. When he heard me come back after opening the door, he immediately smiled and opened his arms. Menghayu, I smiled and threw myself into his arms. What are you cooking? It smells so good. Shredded pork with green peppers. The man picked me up and walked towards the dining room. You were diagnosed with anemia during the last physical examination, so our little Ran needs to supplement iron. But I don't like green peppers. No way. You have to eat at least 1 bite. I cut the green peppers very finely and cooked them very soft. You won't be able to tell when you mix them with rice. Okay, I'll just eat a little. Good girl. We didn't rush back to Italy since we were already in China. We decided to travel around on the private racetrack in Haicheng. A black and a red sports car were neck and neck in speed. The wheels were spinning at high speed, and the roar of the engines resounded throughout the track. In the end, the black car was slightly better, crossing the finish line 1 second faster than the red car. After parking, a man and a woman got out of the driver's seats of the 2 cars. I won. Menghayu leaned against the car door and hooked his finger at the racer of the red sports car. I threw myself into his arms and bit his exposed neck. I could taste the saltiness of his sweat. The adrenaline was still surging, making me excited. We kissed passionately. Next time we'll fight again. I will definitely beat you. I was lucky to win this time. I'll have to work harder in the future. The opponent is really too strong. Okay, we also participated in several auctions. Meng Heyu was obsessed with the items he wanted, and then I would raise the sign to bid and buy them for him. Although it was all his money, in the private room of the bar, Brother Jiang, drink less, you're almost getting alcohol poisoning. Zhao Xian snatched the wine bottle from Jiangsu's hand. He tried to wake up the drunk man. Why, what? Zhao Xian put his ear close to Jiangsu's mouth. Why doesn't Xiaoran look for her brother anymore? She hasn't pestered me to watch movies, read books, or paint with her for a long time. None of those women are as beautiful and obedient as Xiaoran, Secretary Lin. Yes, it's Secretary Lin. I've already fired her. She deliberately sowed discord, making my little Xiaoran sad and run abroad. Xiaoran, Su Xianran, I regret it. Jiangsu covered his face with his hands, and tears seeped out from between his fingers. Zhao Xian lit a cigarette irritably, as Jiangsu's best friend. He had always thought that Jiangsu's feelings for Xiaoran were definitely more than just brother-sister affection, but at that time, even if he had pointed it out, Jiangsu wouldn't have believed it, so he tried his best to stop Jiangsu from hurting Xiaoran. Now, this was the result of Jiangsu's own doing. People only realize how precious the things they once thought were the most ordinary and common are when they lose them. Extra chapter. In the early morning, Meng Heyu lifted his wife in his arms obsessively. 7 years after getting married, Xiaoran had become more and more charming. They explored new fields together, got into the same university to enjoy college life, and had a romantic campus love. After graduation, they traveled and did charity work. They wrote down the stories of their journey. They had been resting in the manor for 3 months, and next month they decided to go to Antarctica. During this period, they needed to prepare a lot of things. He enjoyed it. Over the years, Xiaoran had completely cut off contact with her parents and the Su family. It was said that the Su family couple had divorced and each had a new family. As for why her parents never loved her, Meng Heyu thought that in Xiaoran's heart, it might not matter anymore. Even if she knew the reason, it wouldn't change the situation, and it would only add to her troubles. As for Jiangsu, his story was more complicated. Even now, it was still a mess. He married Lin Shudi, the former Secretary Lin. Unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. Back then, Lin Shudi drugged Jiangsu when he was drunk. Then she ran to the countryside. She gave birth to a boy and raised him until he was 5 years old before bringing the child back to the Jiang family, under the pressure of old Master Jiang and the Jiang family couple. The two got married. It was just a marriage in name only. After marriage, Lin Shudi had been using the Jiang family's money to support her natal family. Later, the Jiang family found out that Lin Shudi actually had 3 younger brothers. Relying on being the brother-in-law of President Jiang, they made a mess of the Jiang Corporation, but by then, it was too late for the Jiang family couple to regret. It was said that they were currently in the middle of a divorce. Lin Shudi was making exorbitant demands, vowing to tear off half of the Jiang Corporation. Mrs. Jiang somehow got Xiaoran's new phone number, but it was Meng Heyu who answered. He had Xiaoran's authorized social agency rights. No one was allowed to affect their life. Thinking of this, Meng Heyu looked at the time. It was almost time for Xiaoran to get up. Today they were going out for breakfast. He would match clothes for Xiaoran later. It was the season when wisteria flowers were blooming outside, so they would wear a set of purple couple outfits today. Meng Heyu lowered his head and kissed Xiaoran on the forehead. Good morning for the new day.